Cambridge Insider podcast time. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Cambridge Insider podcast, your favorite international education podcast. Co-host Leanna Glass. How's Philadelphia this morning?
Philadelphia is hot. It is a hot week here, but we're doing well. We are happy to be transitioning into sort of our student arrival mode with program operations. So we're working with students to get their travel plans figured out. We're really excited to welcome them back for the fall semester. How are you doing today?
Also doing well, thank you. I'm just, I think we've mentioned this, I'm just a little north of you, so it's also high temperatures, but I always compare it to, like 10 feet of snow, and I would take warm weather any day of the week, but that's just me.
Absolutely.
At Cambridge, we never sleep. It's like we've just finished. It was just graduations. We've just done everything that we needed to do to sort of get kids on their way and complete the school year. And now we're focusing on the fall already. Students are, correct me if I'm wrong, but arriving in like maybe a month and a half.
Yep, we've got students arriving probably within the month. I think the West Coast starts sooner than we do. So at my programs, we're going to have students arriving probably mid-August. At many other programs around the country, I think students could be arriving as soon as August 1st. So we're looking at about a month.
Awesome stuff. Generally across the country, and we're sort of just going to do a little general update. I think it's important for us to talk about the state of the industry and the state of the country and the state of where we are, specifically because this is a little, break and people have an opportunity to take some time off, but we are gearing towards the fall. A year ago, you wouldn't believe it if I told you that we are preparing for students to be in person, face-to-face, traveling. I mean, it's incredible to think of the progress that we've made in just, less than a year, really.
That's so true. I remember this time last year, everything was about speculations about when the vaccine would be coming out. And to have it in our hands and to have it so widely available is really incredible. And I think we got to this point so much faster than anyone could have imagined.
Mm-hmm. I feel obliged, as I always do, to just say a quick thank you to everybody healthcare workers and scientists and everybody that was involved in just that process of course, looking after people that were ill and that were not well, and then of course developing this world-class vaccines that allowed us in the US for the most part to get back to normal. I mean, Leanna, and you can speak from your part of the world, which isn't very different from my part of the world, but for most of what I've heard across the country, if you want a vaccine right now, you could very easily just walk into, a pharmacy or any place that's administering them and get them. For the majority of people that want them, they're available.
Definitely. You could go anywhere around here and get one. There's, it's not hard to make an appointment anymore. There's no long lines. There's really no barriers to getting vaccinated at this point. I was even in an airport just the other day, and there was free vaccinations being given out right when you land. There's signs for you. So it's looking really positive for our students who are going to come over from other countries where these vaccines aren't as widely available, and they should be able to get vaccinated probably within 2 weeks of being here.
Absolutely. And now that the vaccine has been approved for 12 years and older, and we did discuss this in a previous episode, but for students that are thinking about and considering getting the vaccine, it's widely available. Executive producer Dean pre-show was just giving an example of one of his friends that lives in the UK that was able to come over and get that vaccine. So for the most part, I don't think it's for the most part it's free of charge. Your SDM at Cambridge or many school representatives as well can help students to set those appointments up, help with that transportation, and get them vaccinated as soon as possible. Because for students coming, this country, for the most part, the US has gone back to normal, I would say. And that's the goal. And we want students to feel free and safe and be able to engage with their community and engage with their friends and their teachers. And the way to do that is to get that shot in the arm if you haven't done that yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Every week I'm seeing more and more news come out about how in the US, come the fall, September time, they're going to want to get everybody back in classrooms. I've even seen some headlines about maybe not having a mask mandate at schools anymore. Of course, students will be able to do whatever makes them feel most comfortable. No one will stop you from wearing a mask, that's for sure. But we do want to get everyone back in the classroom, face-to-face, in-person learning. That's where the most valuable education lies. So getting vaccinated is so important, and it's so easy to do once you do get here. Speaking to that, I can kind of go into a little bit about how this impacts our student arrivals. So when students do come here, if they are unvaccinated, they'll do just a 7-day quarantine and self-monitor for any symptoms. Probably do a COVID test 3 to 5 days after travel. And then beyond that 7-day quarantine, then you'll be free to get vaccinated if you want to. So you'll be good to go, start living the quote back to normal life here in the US.
That's so cool. Again, I just keep thinking back about where we were. And I was doing a presentation at our annual summit last week for all the schools that attended. Thank you for attending. It was a great event, a lot of informative stuff happening. But upwards of, for the most part, the majority of our school partners, upward of 90% of, for the high school at least, upwards often of 90%, let's call it 85 to be conservative, of students as well as administrative staff, teachers are already vaccinated at this point. So I really foresee that by the start of the school year, that's going to be trending closer to 95%. So again, we talk about herd immunity, something which we've heard a lot about, stopping the spread of this, getting back to normal. The fact that we have those figures for people that are vaccinated and able to get back into the thick of things, that's awesome.
Yep, and to add to that, Cambridge Network is also working hard. I know student development managers like myself specifically are working hard to collect some vaccination data from host families too. So we're working with students and hosts to match them accordingly with student needs, student preferences, and same with host families. But I have gotten so much feedback from my host pool that most of them are vaccinated. Most families are fully vaccinated too. So I know we've reached a pretty high percentage overall in the US too of people being vaccinated, and it definitely feels comfortable here. It feels safe. It feels like when you do get vaccinated, you can really go back to kind of living your normal life. It's pretty amazing.
Exactly. And that's the American dream for us. When we talk international education, we want our kids in classrooms engaging in robust discussions. Love that word, by the way, robust discussions, in person, engaging with their community. That's what this is all about. If you are a student listening and you are curious, if you're a family member listening and you're curious, reach out to your Cambridge Network representative. They can give you all of the details that you require for, number one, getting vaccinated. What would that look like if I am thinking about getting vaccinated once I land? Number two, what does my school community look like? Or, what's the percentage of people vaccinated there? And then if you're a school as well and you want to find out a little bit about what you should be offering students at this stage with regards to just information about safety protocol, information potentially about vaccinations and helping them getting vaccinated, again, reach out to your Cambridge Network representative. We want to make sure that communication across the board is in place so that when the fall comes, nobody is questioning what they should be doing, how they should be doing. We want kids, we want hosts, we want schools to all be in alignment with what the goal is and how to ultimately reach that goal, because that's the seamless transition we're looking for.
Absolutely. And your student development manager is truly the best person to reach out to for that information, because we can give you that on the ground, very specific school and student level information. So, as a whole, we can speak to the US and how we're doing. But if you want to know at my specific school, what percentage of the teachers are vaccinated, or at my host family, are they vaccinated? And what do they usually do on the weekends? And am I going to feel safe? All those questions, we can really personalize and tailor your information to you specifically. So just reach out. We're happy to help.
Absolutely. Leanna, before we move on, there's one other thing that I want to address, but anything final that you do want to say about arrivals? I know you're heavily involved in that process. Anything final that you sort of want to mention for schools, for hosts, for students, anything that you want to say there?
Yeah, I would just say that the more communication, the better. Definitely start thinking about your travel plans. And once you can get us a date for when you do arrive, we'll be able to help to set up quarantine plans if you need them. We are having some host families who are totally comfortable having you quarantine in their homes, which is amazing. But if they're not, then we are working one-to-one with students and natural parents to get them set up with a safe and efficient quarantine plan. Again, it's only 7 days, so much better than the 14 days that used to be in place. And yeah, we're excited to have you back. And we'll want to get schools updated too with when students are arriving. So just keep us in the loop with your plans.
Absolutely, absolutely. As always, Cambridge here to support and help and make sure that everything runs smoothly. The final thing in today's episode as a general update that I just quickly want to mention, and Leanna, I'd also love to get your thoughts because I know you are involved in, with a different community than I am generally at Cambridge Network, but is sort of the concerns for many of our families and students about racism and about sort of the anti-Asian specifically narrative. I will say that I think, and I think we at Cambridge Network feel very strongly about this. Yes, is there racism in the US? Yes, just as there is in any other country in the world. But for the most part, it's a small, select group of individuals. For the most part, people that are connected to our students, people that are connected to our schools and our school communities and our host families, are incredibly warm, welcoming, loving people that are here to support everybody, regardless of where they may come from, what they may look like. And I think that's important to say. I think anybody that's traveled to China before, and I'm saying this specifically for, maybe students that are listening that are maybe concerned about coming, anybody that's traveled to China before will know that when you watch, television there, it's 30 seconds of news that you get from the US. The media is going to sensationalize absolutely anything negative because that's what's going to get people's attention. So anything that you do see on TV, take it with a pinch of salt. Understand that you're very likely seeing a small minority of people that are trying to undo the work of so many wonderful people. And from the very beginning, it's at Cambridge Network, it's about making sure that our students feel safe, that they feel supported. We feel very strongly about the schools that we associate with, what their values are, the host families that we associate with and what their values are. And we want to make sure that all of our families understand that you're safe, you're welcome. People cannot wait to get you back on the ground. This is a country that was developed and built up by a bunch of immigrants, and that's important to mention. So we want you to feel safe. If you do have any specific questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to your Cambridge Network representatives about that. But we want to assure you that this is a great place to live and a safe place to live. So, Leanna, I don't know if you want to say or add anything further there.
Yeah, I would definitely just emphasize what you said. It is absolutely safe to come here as an Asian person. You might be seeing things in the news, and they are happening, but these things have also inspired so many schools. I would say every school that we work with has a zero tolerance for any type of racism, hate, or bullying. So things that have happened in our country in the past year have really motivated our programs, I think, and Cambridge Network as a whole to be even more firm and even more vocal about zero tolerance for anti-Asian sentiment or racism as a whole. So that's my first point. And then secondly, you have your student development manager's full support. You can reach out and say, if you're curious, has there been anything like this? Has it happened? What are you seeing on the ground in your area? And we can give you a very specific look into your community. And 9 times out of 10, we're going to say, no, there's absolutely been zero things that have happened that should give you any cause for concern. But throughout the year, too, you have your student development manager support. And to that point, we do a student orientation with our students where we speak on so many of these topics, and we equip students with the skills to address this kind of stuff, to look out for it, what to do if you do see it, and who to turn to if you need support. So we have such a safety net put in place, even if you were to encounter any of this, which you won't. It's safe, promise. And like Stephen said, we've got so many good initiatives to combat any cause for concern you do have.
Exactly. Miss Leanna class, a uplifting, good episode, because again, I'm going to say it, I know I've repeated myself, but we've come such a far way from where we were a couple of months ago. We're rearing up for arrival season, which is insane to think, but it's the reality, and it's great work by everybody to get us to this point. Cambridge Network, our school partners, our families, everybody's been working around the clock to make sure we can get to this point. We cannot wait to have our students back in person and things running as close to normal as possible. Any final thoughts from your side?
Not much today, Stephen. We're just really excited to have our students back. For any students who are listening and are looking for some fun summer activities, reach out to your student development manager, because we do have some virtual events coming up. But other than that, just keep your student development manager in the loop about your travel plans for the fall here. And we can't wait to see you.
Absolutely. To all of our listeners, thank you as always for tuning in. We hope that we are giving you the necessary information that you require to take on this industry. If you do have anything specific that you want us to address, if you have any specific questions, reach out. Executive producer Dean does provide all of the information of how to get hold of us. Remember to like and listen and subscribe, and to share the podcast. There are people all over that want to hear Leanna talk. So make sure you share this podcast link with them. Until next time, we'll catch you around the next episode. Bye-bye, everybody.